All right, y'all. I had a lot to do today, but I'm here. I'm here. And in this video, we got to talk about some things. We got to talk about Savage 21, 20, 21, 21, 21. And the botting claims and allegations, Billboard removing stuff, and what's going on in the world. Huh? What's going on in the world? Yesterday, seen a bald head girl. Anyway, we got to talk about that. We also got to talk about what's going on with Atlanta rappers, because it seems like Pooh Shiesty has even killed their narrative that rap slash hip hop is dead just by his first day out. Track that he dropped. Okay. And so we're gonna play a couple clips and go through this because Akademiks is working overtime, still trying to push the narrative of Kendrick and Drake beef and that ruining hip hop when people are still doing well. And Pooh Shiesty's song, I don't know how his album will do, but he's not the only one, of course. But I'm saying, like, of rappers who been away for a while and was able to come out, stick to the script, and make some music that people were still feeling. That people were still. I seen people putting that up there with the original first day out, but I don't know about all that. We got to pump the brakes. But look, man, let's get right into it.
So Billboard saw what was up with the 21 Savage What Happened to the Streets album, right? And they just filtered out 37,000 US pure album sales from his first week numbers, right? So initially what happened to the streets was projected to do 53,000. That number jumped up to about 90 something thousand. And the last day, it flew all the way up to like 109,000. And this wasn't based on streams or anything. So it's not the usual botting streams thing that was going on. It was some direct to consumer sales just seen a massive increase out of nowhere, and it didn't really make sense for any of the trends that we were seeing with the album, right? So Billboard just filtered through those and removed 37,000 album sales for fraudulent activity.
Something just ain't right. I smell something right. What's going on here, boy? What is going on in the world?
Now, people in my comments are like, oh, why aren't you saying anything about Taylor Swift or whatever the case may be? Taylor Swift's The Fate of Ophelia song is still a top 10 record in the country. And then her music has continued to trend on social media upon the release of her documentary about her, what's the name of that? The Eras Tour, right? That documentary released on Disney Plus. So Taylor Swift has seen a consistent amount. Like, we have to look. I'm trying to give you guys context when I make videos. We can't just look at blanket numbers and say, oh, well, this is happening here too. Look. Okay, like, let's look into the context as to why that happened. You feel me? Are they seeing an increase in streams, social media usage of songs, as well as direct-to-consumer sales? These are the things we look at. With 21 Savage in this situation, we were looking at his streaming numbers, which weren't that good. And then we went and took a look at, okay, is it trending on social media? Not really. Okay, so it's direct to consumer. Is he like selling physical vinyls? Oh, no, it's all like digital purchases. Does he have a store? No, he doesn't have a store either. So where are these numbers coming from? Oh, there's this one suspicious website that he like barely even promoted. That's what we're looking at.
You don't find that suspicious?
That's what we're looking at. That's the difference between Taylor Swift and 21 Savage. You feel me? What makes this even more interesting is when you take a look at like J. Cole's verse on A Lot, when he says, how many faking they streams, getting a place from machines. I can see behind the smoke and mirrors, niggas ain't as big as they seem. As a collaborator of 21 Savage and someone who helped him get a Grammy, I wonder how J. Cole looks at this situation. You feel me? It's all interesting to say the least. But again, if y'all want to have that conversation.
Yeah, man. Somebody said that stimulus has expired. That stimulus expired. Over 300% increase in digital sales. He had to know that was obvious. It seems all the artists on the other side of hip hop have a plug. Maybe I'm just tripping. Nah, you ain't tripping. You ain't tripping. Now look, I ain't the smartest man in the world, but I know a scam when I see one. And that seems kind of scammy to me. And I can't lie, man. I'm not gonna say Atlanta. I don't want to put Atlanta in this whole picture. But these few artists from Atlanta, I can say, are single-handedly at this point kind of really, really doing Atlanta's image a great injustice. Between Doug, Savage, some of the nonsense that's been going on. I mean, you almost forget that they actually got some great artists and made some great music over time, right? You don't, but like you get so focused on this and all of this reeks of desperation. It all reeks of desperation. Now, of course, academics tried to justify all this. You know, he got to work because Drake is a part of this. Remember, he wouldn't probably be doing this if it wasn't for Drake being a part of this here and being connected to it. But he somewhat tried to defend it. We'll watch a small portion of that and talk about that right here.
So this idea that there are bots. Let's read this again. Pure sales. Bots are not pure sales. Bots influence streams. I just told you, his streaming activity is pretty normal. So
I don't know how y'all listen to Akademiks and take this dude seriously. So what he does in this 11-minute long clip is try to come to the defense of 21 Savage and argue that 21 Savage did not bot his album because there are no botted streams. He goes on to say, however, that they manipulated the sales to try to purchase pure albums to inflate his first week release numbers. That is fucking botting. You're trying to have a semantics argument to say that 21 Savage did not bot his album because there are no botted streams. It's pure album sales that were manipulated. So technically that isn't botting. Let me explain something to y'all. I come back, you might see me in videos with Supreme hoodies and shit like that. And that's because I grew up in a world where I love streetwear and shit. I worked at Nike, so I sneakers, streetwear and shit. If you were immersed in that world at any point in your life, you probably learned about botting. This is way before stream farms and all that shit. And you know what people would do who wanted to be resellers or were reselling? They would buy bots, right? And these bots, you will be able to buy a bunch of accounts with IP addresses based all over, right? And that way you could buy like 50 sneakers at a time, you know, on your one account, but it would look like you're buying it from multiple accounts. And that way you will be able to get sneakers in mass or get the Supreme release in mass on a Thursday morning or whatever the case may be, right? And that's what happened here. 21 Savage or someone at his label tried to purchase a bunch of albums with one card or across a bunch of IP addresses, right? And then make it look like 21 Savage had this huge increase in direct-to-consumer sales. However, the way Illuminate Data, who filters through projects to make sure there's no wrongdoing going on, the way they circumvent that is they don't look at just the IP address. They look at if the credit card on file that was used to make these purchases are from the same credit card. And they saw 37,000 albums were purchased under this one card or a couple cards. Yeah, this doesn't count. These are getting filtered through and they won't count.
So he cheating still. He cheating. And yes, that's Biden. That is Biden. That's crazy. These guys, man.
That's botting the album. Botting isn't only when you use stream farms.
Right.
That's called using a stream farm, and we've been calling it botting. But buying something in mass with one card, that's also a form of botting. But fuck it. You want to have a semantics argument? Let's just call it manipulation. He cheated.
Right.
You find ways to play mental gymnastics to defend your friends. But when it's somebody you don't like, i.e., if this happened to Meek Mill, what do you think DJ Akademiks would have been saying? If this happened to Lil Baby, what do you think DJ Akademiks would have been saying? That's why I don't take this nigga seriously.
Happened to Kendrick.
I don't understand how a lot of y'all sit here and act like this nigga's the end-all, be-all, and knows-all. It's relationships. I could like these rappers. I don't give a fuck. I actually genuinely like, well, from what he seems to stand for, I like 21 Savage. But if we're going to call a spade, let's call the spade a spade. Let's not try to protect the relationship here, gang. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, he cheated regardless. Yeah, it's Biden for sure. And it sounds like just for 37,000 though, just for 30, all that for 37,000 to be removed. And the math didn't seem like it was adding up. and I saw Nolan speak on this. So I don't know. All I know is they cheated and they got caught. Somebody said his energy is different when it's people he likes, but when it's people he doesn't. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, and these are the same guys who talking about rap is dead, hip hop is dead, this, that, and or not dead necessarily, but like in a weird place, right? They would rather be more like pop or the Kendrick Drake beef destroyed hip hop. Really what they want to say is that nigga Kendrick came in here rapping and all of a sudden he made our job harder. You know what I mean? But the same guy we was just listening to in this last video, he made some good points because again, Akademiks is going on the same narrative, and it's funny that this narrative really is only surrounding these specific Atlanta artists, because a lot of other artists out here, and they ain't even got to be mainstream, they eating good and their music is doing good. It's only a small group that we can point to when this conversation comes up, right? But let's listen to this last clip.
These rappers really do think they're not blaming both guys, but they really think that battle fucked up hip hop. Like, really fucked up their momentum, fucked up how fans are viewing shit, and just fucked up the general flow of, everybody had their own little section. Now
listen to what he's saying though, and think of what rappers this could pertain to, because this ain't all of them. Rappers have been eating good. Albums have been doing good. Shit been moving. People been excited, but it's for a certain type of rap, right? Lyrics and shit. It's only for a certain type. So when he's saying this, you can picture in your mind who's really affected by this, right?
Rap is like non-existent. Like nothing, everything else is just kind of subsided.
Axe said street rap is non-existent. However, Pooh Shiesty's FDO was the #1 best-selling non-holiday single in U.S. consumption this week at 144,000 units sold.
Okay, Shiesty. Look, I ain't gonna lie. Pooh Shiesty at my age, it ain't really my taste. I ain't gonna in a younger age though. I would have definitely been playing Shiesty. But his first day out was all right though. I did listen to it. I ain't gonna lie, and I didn't know it did 144 though. I really didn't. But look, man, this don't look like rap being in a weird place to me. And this ain't the quote unquote lyrical miracle spherical shit, right? But he even used a Kendrick reference and all of that. I ain't gonna lie, he was kind of spitting in this joint. But that ain't what this is about. The point is, he got out, he wasn't complaining, he just did his thing, and look, he did good. No, this is a certain group of rappers that's complaining. This ain't the industry. This is a certain group, a certain type who benefited off of a certain guy. That's all this is. Everybody else honestly see nothing but opportunity, right?
When Kendrick and Drake battle with the for me, no, my fans don't want to hear no more. Shut up. All this crying, bro. I am so sick of hearing academics say, "Oh, they've been telling me." I talked to these guys, and they've been telling me that the Kendrick and Drake battle, it really hurt them because now their fans don't want to listen to music. Shut up. Drop good music.
Right.
Drop good music.
Right.
Pooh Shiesty got out. People wanted to hear what he had to say. Right? People wanted to hear what he had to say.
Exactly.
He capitalized, dropped a 5-minute track of him just rapping with quotable.
Yeah, I even heard Joe Budden and them talking about, oh, well, it wasn't the first day, so it ain't hitting the same. Apparently, people don't care. I get it. First day out should be the first day, but it didn't matter. And this right here lets you know how much Doug fumbled, right? And he didn't have to do it the very first day. He fumbled the opportunity. Instead, he wanted to get on his Twitter fingers, doing all that shit, right? Trolling, talking about Gunna instead of just doing something like this.
Hard lyrics, no hook. Young Thug came home and he was tweeting. People wanted to hear what he had to say.
Right.
He didn't put out a song until after those calls started leaking. ASAP Rocky beat his case. People wanted to hear what he had to say. He started closing a bunch of fashion deals instead of capitalizing on the moment. Capitalize on moments, people.
And we can put Kendrick did it, didn't he? Kendrick capitalized on the moment. Hey man, they fumbled. Squandered the opportunity, and they want somebody to feel sorry for them. And they blaming everybody and looking around and trying to point the finger instead of pointing it at themselves.
21 Savage grew his fan base exponentially over the last couple years. Then he dropped an album that was a mediocre album. There was nothing special about that 21 Savage album. I don't even hate the album. It's just a generic album, though. It just sounds like some generic 21 Savage songs.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are we talking? It got some low moments. I'm not gonna lie. Got some tracks like why did you think this was a good idea to put this on here? That has nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar and Drake battling, gang. Nothing to do with that. It is the quality of music. Shit start getting redundant. And what's even more interesting about that is, to me, is those rappers that you talking to, I'm 99.99999% sure that if the battle went another way and the other person won, they would not be singing that same tune.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're looking for excuses and reasons as to why. But sometimes your sound fades out from what the public wants to hear. It happens all the time. There was a certain sound that was popping 2016. There was a certain sound that was popping 2020. Now we going into 2026, people want a different sound. You guys aren't evolving. Certain people have long-standing, you feel me? Like certain people, they can do what they do and people will listen. That's Future. That Future's running that portion of Atlanta. You guys are not Future.
Hey, man, it ain't going to stop either. Watch. Wale, Clips, Nas, Jed, Freddie Gibbs all dropped fire projects still in rotation today. Pooh Shiesty hotter than fish grease after getting out. Put out better music. Bro, people need to stop using Drake and Kendrick as scapegoats. This is sad. Or this is old. It's sad too. What's up with this? Yo, they out of pocket. Oh shit. They realize that it takes talent to have longevity. The party is over. Amen. And all that was true. All that was true. And so again, we see, you know, what's that movie called, man? Atlantis Has Fallen or something like that. I can't remember, but I feel like Atlanta has fallen. And it's because those artists who were in the forefront never really stood on their own. And of course, this doesn't include the Futures in them, of course. But those who actually thought that their name and their sound, I guess, had more influence than they realized. You know, they thought it had more influence. They thought that they had more of a solid fan base. They thought wrong. They thought wrong. It wasn't so much their fan base. They was too over reliant on somebody else, and they never evolved as artists. And look, at the end of the day, all that Thug did, or all that 21 did, whether it was bots, using fun, I don't know how he did it, what he did. It only comes back on him and making him look worse, man. It make the city look worse that they from. Them two, I can say this. 21 was cool when he was playing the background, wasn't he? He started talking and he started tweeting, and look what happened. Look what happened now, man. There's one guy that I know of. His name is Kendrick. He just don't talk. He make music. He keep his head down and he work. And for some reason, these guys just can't take that example, right? They can't take that to heart and follow that and just work and do what they. Hell, Gunna been doing the same thing. He ain't been talking, right? Make good music. Put it out. Stop talking. Stop tweeting. Stop talking about F the streets, F this, F the rats, all that blah, 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 blah. Nobody wants to hear it. And it doesn't get any more loud and clear than it has as of late for these certain artists, right? But y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section, man. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.